Due to the graphic nature of its content, listener discretion is advised.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight.
On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Mike and Sebastian sit down with Mr. Thomas Brennan, who is an award-winning journalist, author, Penguin Random House, combat wounded Marine Corps veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, husband, father, yeah, I'm doing a LinkedIn thing again, and all-around badass. And I met this guy over at Bunker Labs RDU Brain Trust, and this dude has got some kick-ass sea stories. He has gone to high-end, top-notch journalism school, and is just doing great things for the veteran community as a whole. Proud to call him a Marine Corps brother. Welcome to Cigars and Sea Stories, Thomas Brennan.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Oh fuck. So what are you up to, man?
Not too much, just working, man.
Nice, you're a busy dude. You're all over the place. So what are you doing right now with TheWarHorse?
Right now, we are moving forward with our debut stories that'll start coming out looking like the end of May, beginning of June. One is a KIA long-form profile where we interviewed an entire Marine family and platoon who lost a Marine in Helmand Province in 2010. And we just shot the video last week. We just shot the photo last week, and we're getting ready to publish that out there. And then we got an investigation looking into Gitmo. We got a long form feature about Kyle Carpenter, and we're moving forward on a few other features on some stuff that really isn't known about Iraq and Afghanistan.
So to clarify where all this work is coming from, WarHorse is an investigative journalism outlet focused on the Department of Defense and Veterans Affairs, and a member of the Institute for Nonprofit News. In addition to exploring systemic wrongdoing, TheWarHorse will publish long-form features about military life and culture, trauma, war crimes, acts of valor, major battles, human rights, sexual trauma, and more. And will begin profiting all post 9/11 KIA. Profiling all post 9/11 KIA. All stories published by TheWarHorse will be made available for free to members of the American Alliance of Museums. So that's just to frame up TheWarHorse as a whole. And this came out of what experience, what led you towards the creation of TheWarHorse?
So where did it begin?
Yes.
So I was working as a reporter down at the Daily News in Jacksonville, North Carolina. We were focused on Camp Lejeune and the surrounding area. And I had to write a really short casualty announcement for a Marine. And it deserved better. And I felt really guilty that I couldn't do better on the deadline that we were working on. You know, and that stuff happens. I mean, it's no fault of the newspaper. You know, you have to put stuff out. But that got the ball rolling on how can I do better. So then I wound up doing about, I want to say it was between like 20 and 30 profiles of World War II veterans. And I realized I was following another cliche, and that was me running after the veterans who are dying right now, trying to get their story before they're all gone. Same thing happened with World War I and you know, so on and so forth. So I wanted to change that. I wanted to make it so that we can own our stories now, and we don't have to rely on the you know, the media later on to come and get them as we're dying, and the majority of us are already gone.
I love it. So the motivation behind it is that it's to own the story, it's ours, to put it out there and to tell it right.
Correct.
This is what I'm hearing.
I mean, yeah, like, I'm not even really doing this for our current generation. I mean, that's definitely part of it. But they're not the main reason. The main reason is, like on the site now, there's an article that I wrote about a Gold Star kid named Anthony, and I put that out there. He's very much him and every other Gold Star kid and Gold Star family is, the driving factor for me, as far as the profiles of the KIA go, because after I got done interviewing their family, he walked up to me and he thanked me for wanting to making sure that his father's story was told. And that really resonated deep within me, and that's the driving factor, because his generation deserves to know whatever the truth might be.
Right. And I mean, I for one can say wholeheartedly, I appreciate that, because personally, one of the reasons why Cigars and Sea Stories exist is because I won't find peace until I can help the families of the fallen, because they're our brothers, and that is our charge, to come back and help those who have lost their, who, I mean, it goes all the way back to the breadwinner, blah, 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 whatever, but they lost their father, or their husband, or their brother. So I want nothing more than to be able to be a part of supporting them overall. That's the easiest way to put it. So.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a distinct delineation with the WarHorse between, the investigative journalism and the profiles of the, the men and women and the interpreters and the military working dogs who were killed overseas since 9/11. And the reason why the WarHorse is the investigative journalism hub and the Echoes Project is the hub for the profiles is because some people, can say that the Echoes Project is, pro-war, pro-troop, whatever they want. People can make assumptions on what it is. And because people can make assumptions on what it is, we branded it separately. That way people can have no reason to doubt our investigative journalism.
I gotcha. I love it, man.
Smart.
So when did you join the Corps?
I joined back in 2002, and then I went to boot camp in August of 2003.
Cool. What was your first unit?
Yeah.
1-8. Yep.
So you're
First
an East
Battalion,
Coast
First
Marine.
Battalion, 8th Marines, Alpha Company.
Nice.
So you're an East Coast Marine.
Yes, I am.
It's not your fault.
No. Just, from day one, the Corps makes you do what they want, so.
So,
Yep.
all right, let's get. Oh man.
It's that green
Oh,
weenie.
it's coming. It's coming, dude. I got a combat erection.
I
Pre-stage.
have a feeling you're going to have your wargasm soon, maybe?
Pre-stage. Time me out.
You're breathing heavy.
Oh. So, let's get into some deployments here. When was your first deployment?
You said when or where?
Both.
It was Iraq in 2004.
And
I'm playing difficult here, aren't I?
I love it. So, you're in Iraq, 2004. Were you slaying bodies downrange, combat action ribbon style, or was it like, hey man, we're driving around, just like getting blown up?
Yeah, no, the first the first 4 months were very uneventful, to say the least. I mean, we at least for my platoon, there were other people within 1-8 that saw some shit before then, but when I didn't get into my first firefight until Fallujah in November.
So you're in Fallujah in November. Okay, so yep, I remember that time frame well. I personally was not there, unfortunately. But were you in a truck company, or were you dismounted?
No, I was with a line platoon.
Nice, rolling like door to door.
Yeah, I was attached as a 51.
Nice.
So
So-
lots of det linears and small rockets. I got the hearing in my right ear to prove it.
So were you guys at that point? Were you sweeping through, or did you have FOBs and then you were operating out of PBs?
No, we so I think it was back in April. drawing a blank on the unit that went in, did the initial push in Fallujah, but we were the second push later on in the year, and we took tracks up to the government center, and we dismounted in there and pushed through on foot.
Nice. Okay, cool. So you're headed downrange. Was it kinetic from there on out, pretty much?
The first morning that we rolled in, not too much until about probably 10 a.m.
So this is 10 a.m. November.
For me, it was November 10th.
Oh, yes. Okay,
there were
so on November 10th,
there were other units.
Fallujah.
Yeah, there were other units that had pushed in, a little earlier. But the way that we were going in, we came in on the 10th and took the government center once they pushed up to that point.
Oh, that's epic,
fucking
dude.
perfect.
So, okay. November 10th, 2003. You're kicking doors in Fallujah.
2004, yeah.
2004, excuse me. Kicking doors in Fallujah on the birthday. I gotta ask, man. You ghosting guys at distance? What are we talking here? What are we rolling on? What's your platform?
Initially, it was, we held firm in the government complex until probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we pushed across Fran, and then it was pretty much kinetic from there on out. But there was some small stuff that happened before then. PsyOps was actually, they were playing AC/DC's Hell's Bells.
Yes.
The Marines hymn, and I can't remember the other one.
The Marines hymn, November 10th, Fallujah.
In Fallujah, yeah.
Yes.
Just to terrify the fuck out of him.
Now, I read a piece that he sent my way about this, which I have not forwarded to the team on purpose, bro. Because I wanted to get it down on the recording here.
Nice.
Can you tell us about slaying bodies to the Marines hymn on November 10th?
Yeah. I got my first one to the Marines hymn. It's kind of motto.
Combat Jack, time now. First enemy KIA while listening to the Marines hymn over a fucking loudspeaker, slaying bodies on November 10th. That's a solid kill. That's solid right there. I don't mean to drag it out of you. I'm grabbing some LSAT. Ah, man. I'm so fucking jealous right now.
Nah, I don't know, man. It was very quickly overshadowed, though. That was the story that I wrote about for that was more about the psychological aspect of it afterward.
Right.
Because while it was definitely the celebration immediately thereafter, it was it was still tough, but then my platoon commander got killed less than an hour later. So it was definitely, I definitely got my erection off at first, but got a total boner. But
right.
then he got killed. So the reality set in real quick. It started off pretty, it was surreal at first. I knew it was real. I could hear the shit going on in the in the distance, but it hadn't hit me yet. So I had the upper hand at first, but then they got theirs, and it was one of mine, and
right.
It got real quick.
Yeah. See, that's what's strange about your story. That's different with a lot of us and probably our audience also, just from our unit, because we had an early KIA with our unit, so we were in revenge mode from the start.
Yeah, we had KIAs, but they were from the unit that I didn't know really,
right.
that I didn't have that immediate connect. Yeah, I didn't have that immediate connection with them. So
right.
it still sucked because you knew people that knew one of them, and
right.
you knew that they were hurting, so it affected you. But at the same time, Lieutenant Malcolm was the first one that hit home for me,
mm-hmm.
and that was just from there on out. Everyone, it just got more and more real, and
yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. it was strange for us because we had Swanberg, who, God rest him, he was an awesome dude, and he was one of our senior Marines. We had left and gone, or at least I had. I was on a phase that went into from Camp Ramadi and Hurricane Point on an initial like rip, which is all demilitarized now, which is weird to think of, and I think under ISIS control right now actually, so fuck them. But it was strange though, because when we phased in, we went out, did our initial patrol, and it was when we got back in off that initial patrol, we had some hair-raising experiences that took place, but that's when they circled us up and were like, they told us that we had taken a KIA, and it was out of our platoon. It was just like fucking throttled me at 19 years old. You know what I mean? And then it's like a series of other things took place, got bordered, all of this other stuff, and then later on, come out of River City and my old lady tells me that she's pregnant. It's like, shit. Damn it. What the fuck is going on? It's just weird, dude. A different, another reality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's strange. But you're not worrying about bills. You know what I mean? It's weird. So people are like, so it's not a reality. And outside of your platoon, you might know. I mean, I didn't know a whole lot of people outside of my platoon. Like, know them really well. Let alone the greater Marine Corps. So, of course, it's always a joke when somebody's like, oh, do you know so-and-so? Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, man, I don't. I was busy sweating with 40 men. Like, no. I know those guys. Outside of that, no, not really. And then, like, I could tell you what they're going to do in the middle of a firefight. I don't know them any other way. That's what's kind of strange and unique about this. So how many tours did you do?
I did one in Iraq, one in Afghanistan, and then I did a MU. And then we did Hurricane Katrina relief down in Louisiana, trudged through a bunch of human waste for weeks on end.
So did you get out on a standard discharge?
Did I what?
Did you get out on a standard? You weren't medically separated, is what I'm trying to ask.
Oh no, I got medically retired in 2012.
Oh, you did? Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, got my bell rung a little too good in Afghanistan in 2011. Came home, really started noticing some problems with my memory and being able to read out loud. And went and got checked out, and time to go.
I'll be damned.
So what was that?
It's all good. It's for the best. I mean, I noticed small things about my memory. I mean, in hindsight, it's that they're big things. But when I looked back on it, after I had my TBI, I wasn't as safe of a leader as I should have been. Mm-hmm. And I kind of let my pride get in the way of me saying anything. And when I came home, I couldn't help but see them all the time, because I wasn't preoccupied with trying not to get blown up or get one of my guys blown up. So yeah, and then I got referred to a medical board, and the rest is history.
The rest, as they say. So yeah. It was out of there, and then, it wasn't necessarily a smooth, quote unquote, as they say, transition. I'd rather approach it as an evolution, but where'd you go to school? What was the next step?
Right when I got out, I started working I worked at the Robisonian down in Lumberton, and then I got hired at the Daily News here in right outside of Lejeune. I was going to the University of Massachusetts online for their journalism program when I first got out. I had my associates from Park University that I got while I was in for business management, and just upgraded to a BA, and then worked at the Daily News. I was freelancing for the Times, and then I then my daughter kind of punked me out because I was making excuses about my headaches and stuff, not wanting to do crap. And she's legally blind in her left eye. So, like, she made an excuse about not being able to do something because she couldn't see correctly. And I told her to stop making excuses, and then she completely punked me out, saying that I was making them because like I get pretty gnarly migraines. So like I was laying on the couch, and it wasn't as bad as I was telling her it was, and she basically called me a bitch and told me to do something with my life, and to stop making excuses. So I don't know, and then she asked me if I was going to go back to school. I think she was like 5 at the time, and I just applied to Columbia's Graduate School of Journalism on a whim. Awesome. And a few months later, I got accepted, and VA paid for it.
Hell yes.
So I specialized in investigative journalism, paid for by the VA, so I could focus on the VA.
Nice.
That'll probably get my rating decreased or something for saying that. I'll get a letter in 7 to 10 days that the secretary of the VA heard that, and I don't know. And I don't know, whatever.
Oh, I thought you meant our rating would get a decrease. I didn't realize you meant your...
Oh, no, I was talking about a VA disability rating.
Oh.
Cigars and Sea Stories is proud to support and sling Counter-Strike coffee. Counter-Strike coffee, I want you to know, is meant to be drink black. Now, I myself love coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker. I went away from black coffee for a little while. Needed the cream and sugar when I was rocking it with the generic blend. Counter-Strike coffee brought me back into the fold in a huge way. They do a great dark roast. I'm a big fan of napalm. That's my fave. Smooth operator is good, though. It can go with cakes and pies, and I got a bit of a sweet tooth. I know a couple of us do, you know. And then also Firewatch. I mean, Firewatch, that's going to be the kick in the ass that you need in order to get your day going the right way. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't already done so, check out counterstrikecoffee.com. Use promo code Cigars and Sea. You will get 10% off. Again, that's counterstrikecoffee.com. Use promo code Cigars and Sea to get yourself 10% off.
So what does a day in the life of an investigative journalist look like?
Right now for me, not as much writing as I would like to do, because I'm working with a lot of freelancers on a bunch of different stories. I'm trying to network with a few organizations and foundations and businesses for potential like partnerships where they might pay for a few journalists to come down and start working in the office so we can get off the freelance model. And basically I'm going around trying to find organizations that'll support our mission. The larger ones seeking roughly $200,000 for you hire a team of journalists, and then you would open up a fellowship for a veteran or immediate family member, so like a spouse or a child or something like that is a postgraduate specializing in like data analytics or data processing or journalism. So they would then come on a paid fellowship that would have a veteran or family member working alongside a team of journalists, because I think that would be incredibly valuable if we're trying to be the most accurate news outlet on military and veterans affairs. Why should we not have them throughout the newsroom?
Right.
It would essentially be like an outlet focusing on criminal justice, hiring ex-cons to work in the office.
I like that analogy.
Because the media is very, disconnected from military life and culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I read it all the time. Marine killed here, or Marine does something dumb in the media. And then 3 lines into it, they call him a soldier. Like, I mean, just the little attention to detail that I know veterans look at and they're like, oh, look at this shit. Like, they don't even know the difference. And they just turn away within the first 3 sentences. I'm not going to say that we're going to be perfect. I'm sure I'm going to mess stuff up. My Air Force jargon isn't too up to speed.
Right.
But we're definitely not going to take it lightly, and that's why we want to have vets working in the office. I mean, right now, since we're so close to Camp Lejeune, I opened up an internship, and I basically told the battalion that no Purple Heart recipient will ever be turned away. And right now, I have a Marine who's working in the office. He's very interested in journalism. I mean, he's working on research, helping out with social media, helping out with, organizing the database and tracking certain things, trying to, I remember what it was like being on that medical board, just sitting around doing nothing. And, not every Marine is able or, allowed to go to Wounded Warrior Battalion. And the same thing goes for, soldiers for the WTUs and whatnot. There's a lot of people that are stuck within, battalions, but I can at least offer an internship to, have them get gainful experience, or at least, trial and error. He may find out that he absolutely does not want to do journalism, and I'm perfectly cool with that. Because at least now he knows that he should not go spend 4 years in school or whatever to do it, or to go get a job in a newsroom. I helped him narrow down what he's trying to do when he gets out. So, I don't know.
I mean,
trying to pay it forward again.
That's it, right? There you go. And I mean, people are like, oh yeah, you need to have this, that, or whatever. No, negative, wrong. Hemingway, like that dude came out. He was a journalist that went overseas with an ambulance driver, wounded, nurse, blah blah blah, bounced all over the place, numerous shorts, awesome dude, right? Kick-ass guy in general. And he didn't have the education to lean on. He just understood how to boil something down to where you could feel it in as little words as possible.
Yeah, and I mean that. I'm not saying you have to have an education to be a journalist or to do these things. A lot of people are self-taught, and they're amazing at it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you don't have to fit the cookie cutter mold.
Right. Right, there you go. And it's important. We like highlighting that also, because there's a lot of guys who will get in touch with us, and gals for that matter, who will get in touch with us and be like, I thought about doing a business, or I thought about doing this, or something like that. The status quo kind of tells me this, but you guys don't really give a fuck about the status quo, so I figure I'd run it by you. Do you have anybody else that's in the network and stuff? And I love getting those types of messages. Those are the best. Because then I get to send a disruptor to another disruptor and disrupt further. So I enjoy that thoroughly. Which it sounds like you enjoy disrupting a little bit also.
Yeah, I mean, ethical disruption, I guess.
Yes.
But I mean, just the veteran businesses that are starting to take off right now are just absolutely incredible. And I think that really anybody getting out of the military right now, not even leaving Wounded Warrior Battalion, you might just be transitioning normally, choosing to get out on your own will. And I see too many of my friends that are just okay with what they're doing, and they really have they get comfortable, and they're capable of much better, and they're not happy doing what they're doing because they settled for something. And I don't know, I think there's plenty of vets working right now in all areas of small business, whether it be a startup or a successful business at this point, that they can look up to for kind of guidance and assistance. Mm-hmm. or better yet, inspiration. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of the reason why I opened it up with Wounded Warrior Battalion, was simply because I don't know. It does suck getting out. I mean, it's it's not easy. I mean, and if it's not easy, it'll get hard at some point. But
Right, there you go. Fuck yeah.
I mean, yes. So I mean, if I can let them at least try and error, or what, you know, I would take an intern that would do web development. I would take an intern that would do graphic design or whatever. I mean, if somebody wanted to come and learn how to be a professional janitor because that's what they felt like their purpose was going to be, I mean, we would have the cleanest newsroom in the world. I'd let them, you know, rock out on it. Whatever, man. Like, go for it. If you want to scrub baseboards and that's what makes you happy when you get out, by all means, like, sign up to be an intern. You know what I mean? Like, go for it.
That's solid. Hell yeah. Give us some of your links again. It's the WarHorse, the WarHorse, correct?
Yes. Yes.
TheWarHorseorg.
Yep.
Okay. Now, do you have any other links? TheWarHorse.org, and then is there anywhere on TheWarHorse.org that we should be looking around that people should jump to straight away?
I mean, right on our homepage, you can see. I have that story of Anthony that we talked about earlier, and we also have a second story up there that it talks about, you know, how long the argument over how war should be fought has been going on. I mean, it goes all the way. It includes everybody from Sun Tzu to General Mattis. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Vote Mattis 2016.
Well, as a nonprofit newsroom, I cannot endorse political figures.
There you go. It's not a political figure yet. There you go.
Oh yeah, good catch. Good catch.
Yeah, it's funny. I got quoted on a tweet. It kind of got spun around the web a little bit. The Daily Caller, the American Military News, and a few others. And I was just kind of throwing it out into the netherverse. You know, right in Mattis 2016. Talk about making America great again. Hashtag stir it up. You know, and it's like, just to see what the response would be. I was pretty shocked. You know.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who'd like to see that happen. So, pretty nuts.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's I feel very fortunate for having the opportunity to speak with men like him.
Right.
Can't violate his trust and say what, you know, we talked about.
No, of course not.
But I mean, he's a truly inspiring man.
Awesome. Nice. Yeah, being in his presence, good dude. In general.
Yeah, I mean, I've never met him in person.
Oh, really?
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, like, never met him. I mean, when we first got to Iraq back in 2004, we had just gotten to Al-Assad, and I was a pretty shitty boot.
Right.
Yeah, like, I mean,
yeah,
I think we all were, but I mean, I don't know. I felt like, you know, I felt like I was a little off. I know my squad leader didn't like me too much at first. Right. But I had, like, walked away from my weapon from, like, you know, like, I was like 10 feet away, and I caught it myself. I realized I forgot it. I turned around, but so my squad leader had just gotten done with me, and we had to go to the chow, you know, we had to go to the chow hall, and I'm sitting there sweating my ass off in there, you know, and General Mattis was talking to us. So yeah, it was it was a memorable day on two fronts for, you know, that hour and a half.
The highs and lows.
Yeah, definitely highs and lows. But never met him in person. Only been lucky enough to talk to him on the phone.
Nice. That's cool, man.
Yeah, when I was actually up in Philadelphia for the Marine Corps birthday and the 10th anniversary of Fallujah, and there were a bunch of us that went up there, and I had set it up kind of as a surprise for the guys. And they're with the O3XX Foundation. And I had them call in. General Mattis was nice enough to call us on the Marine Corps birthday and wish us a happy birthday. And
hell yeah,
we put it on the truck speakers, and just a bunch of our heads just sitting around a truck, just talking to General Mattis on on the birthday. It was pretty fucking sweet.
That's fucking awesome.
So I mean, like, he's incredibly generous with his time.
That's motivation right there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's solid stuff, man. I applaud you in what you were doing. It's TheWarHorse.org, correct? TheWarHorse.org.
Yep.
I want to make sure.
Pretty much. I mean, pretty much the stage that we're at right now. I think when we launched the Kickstarter back in January, we finished in February, raised over $50,000. I mean, we had an awesome group of backers on there. But that's to get the first couple stories working. Since then, we've got a volunteer grant writer that's working with us. She's got a few that have been sent out. We're in further discussions with a few different places that might fund some stuff for us. But I mean, right now, we're in the fundraising / getting things rolling stage to where the next amount of money that we raise will hire, like a staff journalist. The next, once we raise the next salary, like it'll hire somebody else, because we're paying for long, amazing, multimedia stories with pictures and video and, possibly animations or like whatever we wind up doing for the individual story. I mean, that's all expensive. So
right.
If you're paying freelancers, sometimes it works out to where if you're paying a freelancer what they're worth, it gets expensive. So, building a staff that can work together and accomplish things, faster and really start to, form that cohesive unit, it gets cheaper in the long run. So that's why trying to move away from the freelance model is so important at this point.
Gotcha. Makes sense, man. Makes sense. It's good business.
I'm not trying to get rich, man. I mean, this is just, it's something that I'm passionate about. I got my second chance, like, to do something that would make me happy and make me not want to blow my brains out, and I'm following it. And I mean, I plan on earning everybody's trust. So whether the donations come in tomorrow or they come in a year and a half, like, I'm gonna gain trust and maintain it. So
nice.
No, that's a solid mentality. You're doing it right, dude.
Yeah, man. And I've made it so that we are taking. I want the criticism from the outside. I mean, I really do. Like, I want people to hold us accountable. I think that people are really not yes, people can hold news outlets accountable, but I really want it to be a conversation, so we're not having to get to that point. If we have open and honest conversation about war and trauma, then the conversation is only going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's why the conversation is so necessary, because if we're not talking, then there's no way to get it truly correct, if that makes sense.
It does.
That's solid, dude. I commend you. Right on, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, hell yes. Well, it's great seeing a fellow Marine doing awesome shit. So,
Same
keep
here,
doing
man.
it. Thank you. Well, you guys out there in the listening audience, check them out at TheWarHorse.org. Thank you to our sponsors, VeteransList.us. If you're a veteran-led business, get 50% off a featured membership when you type in Cigars and Sea. 10% off Counter-Strike coffee when you use discount code Cigars and Sea. And we are proud to be sponsored by First Data. If you're a veteran-led business, want to hop in with us, by all means, get in touch. We love hearing from other veteraneurs who are out there doing work, other folks who are just trying to add value to the community and looking for an entrepreneurial way to do it. So get in touch with us, man. Thomas, thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. Much appreciated.
Thanks a lot, guys.
This is very cool. Juslin. Cue the music.